Okay, welcome back to another video. Here is the long-awaited comparison. We've got a JBL Party Box 110 and the brand new LG XL5S on the right there. As you can tell, these are very similar size speakers, obviously pointed at the same market. These are party speakers, but maybe not something for a party of hundreds of people, but for a house party or a garden, outside. These are that's what these are for. Both of them do the job very well, I'll say that from the get-go. So this is going to be a really tight comparison, and to be honest, there isn't going to be a night or day winner here. It's all going to be down to what type of music you like and how you listen to it. I'll start with some specs from both of them. So the 110 retails for £300, the XL5S for £400. So that's obviously going to be quite a big difference here. That would just be purely because the LG is newer. It's probably got some slightly newer tech inside of it. They've put some work into the lights and stuff. But yeah, I couldn't really explain why otherwise, but that is obviously going to be quite a big factor within this comparison. Yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later. They both have mic and guitar inputs with volume twisters and echo adjusters and stuff like that on the back. So very similar in that regard. The 110 is rated at 160 watts of power and the XL5S is 200. So the 110 is down 40 watts on power. And I am a little bit confused, to be honest, seeing as the 110 has two woofers at 5.25 inches and the XL5S has one woofer at 6.5 inches. So clearly the size does very much matter here, and that one woofer on the LG that's 1.5 inches bigger than the JBL ones is compensating for the fact there's only one of them, which is quite impressive because the bass does sound quite similar on these. But I would have thought in a lot of cases that just the JBL having two woofers is going to make quite a big difference. And then the JBL has two tweeters at 2.25 inches and the LG has two tweeters as well at 2.5 inches. So again, half an inch, sorry, not even that, 1/4 of an inch bigger tweeters for the LG, but I'm not sure how much difference that's really going to make, but we'll see. They're both running Bluetooth 5.1. The A110 weighs 10.84 kilograms and the XL5S weighs 11.2. So slightly heavier on the LG side, but probably not something you're going to notice in day to day. Battery wise, they both take 3.5 hours to charge and they're both rated at a 12-hour maximum battery life. So almost probably the exact same battery in these. So yeah, if battery life is a big thing, then unfortunately that isn't going to be a deciding factor here. And they're both IPX4 rated as well. So you can see this is going to be quite a tight battle. They're both very similar speakers in a lot of ways. It may just come down to what other type of speakers you have. If you have a lot of other LG speakers and you want to make use of the LG app to kind of link them together, then likewise, if you've got a lot of JBL speakers and you want to link those together, then that may even be the deciding factor here. But yeah, it is going to be really difficult. So obviously I'm going to do a sound test on these. I'm going to play them at the same time effectively and cut throughout the song, so there should be no gaps and you can hear what they sound like next to each other, and then we will come back at the end. I will be playing Everything by Diamond Eyes at 80% volume.
I'm on my own, broken alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Just stare 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me, that's why
Okay, and as I expected, that was really, really close. I almost want to, take a step back and listen to it for hours next to each other. But from what I'm hearing now and from what I've tested over the last couple of days, I find that the XL5 is louder and clearer, but the 110 just tends to have slightly more bass and better low ends. And it really isn't night and day. It really isn't. I was listening to these for a couple hours earlier, and I find myself sometimes, but like depending on the song, sometimes preferring LG and sometimes preferring the JBL. And it wasn't I was never always like, yeah, that one's better. It was completely swapping depending on the type of song and depending on how the artist has made it effectively. So it's really, really close. And yeah, it's really nice to see that LG have caught up. Some people might not like that term, but I always find LG have been a bit behind. But yeah, this is really impressive what they've put forward here. Unfortunately, just because of the price, I'm going to have to recommend the JBL Party Box 110. You're saving £100. There's no way that I could justify, when they sound so similar, there's no way I could justify the £100 more for the LG. And I thought, yeah, that's just common sense, unfortunately. But yeah, I find, yeah, it's a bit like, yeah, it depends on what your music taste is. If you prefer kind of like rap or music with a lot of bass in it, then I would say the JBL is more suited for that. Whereas if you're listening to something that's more focused on the mids and the highs, then I would say the LG is better, and it's also is that slight bit louder. I can tell it when they're playing next to each other, but if you had one in one room and one in the next, you probably couldn't. So again, they're really, really close. But yeah, the JBL is going to have to win it for me purely because of that £100 price difference, and the light show is better, to be fair. JBL have just really nailed it with the spinning bits around the tweeters and the customization you can have around the two woofers there. But it's a really, really close one. I really enjoyed making this. So let me know down in the comments what you think. If you think I've got this wrong, or which one you would go for.